What's up, nerds? So, for this episode, we are going to be doing a review and breakdown of the season finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian. What a season finale it was. But before we get started, I just want to introduce my twin brother, Marlon. Marlon, say hi.
Hello, nerds.
I also just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is going to do their annual bot purge and old account cleanse, and there usually is a little bit of collateral damage. But I just please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. So let's get started on this breakdown and review. Marlon, first off, what did you think about this episode overall?
9.5 out of 10. It was great.
Oh, I give it a 10. Oh, so good. So good. I freaked out the whole time, which we'll get into as we get further into this breakdown. Yeah, let's just do it. So we start off with the scene where you got an Imperial shuttle running from the Slave One.
Yep.
And I first have to say, seeing the Slave One in action again was so cool. I love when the gun in the bottom of it turned backwards, but that was later on. We'll go. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But I liked seeing it in action. And one thing in this one, because they're trying to get that Dr. Persher, I don't remember what his name was, and I don't have the actor.
I kept calling him Dr. Fauci because I didn't
Anyways,
remember.
You know what I didn't get was the one pilot was like, "Do you want a death wish?" And then that pilot, as soon as they boarded, grabbed the doctor and then started egging on Cara Dune. I'm all like, "Do you want a death wish?"
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I really do like getting Cara Dune's backstory. Like, I like knowing the stuff about the tattoo, the tear tattoo that she has, and I love that she's got a backstory that she was from Alderaan and everything. And I would love to see. I hope that if she is in that, what is that?
Rangers of the New Republic or
yes,
something like that.
I hope that.
Yeah.
I hope we do get to see a little bit more of her backstory and get to see like flashbacks of that, because I would really love to see that. So then the Slave One heads over to some rando planet, and we get to go to a bar scene, and we get to see Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks. I don't know her character's name. Doesn't even matter. And they go in Wild Wild West style, and they're like, "Hey, we need your help." And she's all like, I loved when she was all like, "I would recognize your voice anywhere. You're not a real Mandalorian," because of course she would, because he's a clone. And I thought it was really, and I love that. I also loved that she was like, your father, like when he defended Boba Fett or Jango Fett, and as it solidified that he accepted him as a father, not as a donor, because she was all like, "Your donor," and he didn't call him his father. But I loved how, or maybe he did, I can't remember, but I just loved that part.
Yeah. That whole scene was really good. The only thing that kind of was annoying, like the Boba Fett random Mandalorian girl fight, was super like, it was a little cringy for me, because I was just like, I don't really. Well, I don't know. It just felt weird. Like,
go ahead, finish your thought.
It just felt really out of place. Like all of a sudden they just break out into fighting and stuff. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weirdo.
I thought there was only one part that I had a little bit of a problem with, and that was when he did his little string thing. I don't know what it's called. And then she pulled on it, and she kind of pulled him a little bit, because I'm like, listen, when it comes to men and women aren't as strong as men. So I kind of, and he kind of like, but when it came to like her flipping him over or whatnot, that's like a judo kind of thing or whatnot. I don't know what martial arts it is, but so that made sense. When it comes to like her pulling on him and being able to like physically outstrength him, that was a little weird to me, but not enough to where I was like, oh, I hate this fight. I did, however, loved when both of them shot their flamethrowers. That was good. I loved that.
That's probably the only good part, because if you watch the scene again, when he shoots his grappling hook, she throws her arm in front of it. Like, it's not like that thing was going to sidewind around you, dum-dum. Like, you literally put your arm in the way, so it grabbed your arm. So you... Anyway, I just thought it was cringy.
Right on.
And they need a body double for the actor that plays Boba Fett, for sure. Because every time I see him standing in his armor in that black cloak, that they need to get him better like better wardrobe under the armor, because that
I
black
agree.
like shroud he's wearing just makes him look like dad bod Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, yeah.
That's what I call him, Boba Fett.
And it's not that I care that Boba Fett's got a little weight to him. It's just like I just don't see this older man with dad bod doing the physical stuff that Boba Fett's been doing. So I'm just like, I can avert expectations only to a certain degree, and then you guys need to help me out with this. Anyway,
Right
moving on.
So then we get to they're planning out their attack on the shuttle, and Bo-Katan is like, Moff Gideon is mine, and they're talking about those robots. I can't remember the Death Troopers,
The Dark Troopers.
Dark Troopers. Thank you. And they're talking about them, and they're trying to talk about all this stuff and how to get the kid and everything. And it sounds like a good plan. But and it shows up later, but I love how she was all like, I need to Darth Gideon is mine and everything. And I was like, that's going to play a part later, and it did, which we'll talk about. And then they're traveling through warp speed, and they're all like, yo, Boba Fett, make your shots look real, because this needs to look real. We're gonna, or they won't let us on, kind of thing. So then they drop, and he's all like, I'll make it look real. So then they drop out of hyperspace, and they're being attacked and everything, and it looked good. And then they decide to launch TIE fighters instead of letting them on the ship right away.
Yeah.
And I always love seeing the mechanics of, like, for instance, the TIE fighters, how they, come along on a little thing, and then they drop them and they go out the hangar. I do like seeing that, excuse me. And then, so then they shoot out some TIE fighters, and then
I'm gonna say real quick though, the layout of this ship is terrible.
Terrible.
The kind of fighting that they expected these ships to do, like these almost like battleship type fights, because they're only launching one TIE fighter at a time. And
horrible.
Yeah, I'm like, if you were caught by surprise right now, you would not get to launch a TIE fighter. Like, let's say, I bet 4 X-Wings could have taken out those top cannons and any TIE fighter that would have popped out that thing right away. So it's like, that ship is very vulnerable. Anyway, maybe I'm being just too picky.
Right? No, you're not. You're correct. It was a weird thing to have that. So then they crash inside of the bay, and Boba Fett takes out the 2 TIE fighters, which, like I said before, when those cannons turned around, I was like, that is so cool. I love the Slave One and everything.
Yeah, I do love the Slave One.
So then they bust out of the ship and just start firing on all these stormtroopers and stuff. Excuse me. And then got Moff Gideon's like, release the Dark Troopers. And they've got a charge, and that's going to be like 8 minutes. I think they said something like that. So then Mandalorian goes on, and this, and we mean you have said it before, and I'll say it again. This ship is full of stormtroopers, and not one of them gets a good shot. And I'm this is something that really bothers me. If it's a running joke, it's not a good joke. It's lost. It's funny. This fact that stormtroopers can't hit anything, because the Empire wouldn't be able to take over the galaxy with crappy foot soldiers.
Right.
That really bothers
like I said,
me.
Luke had to apply for the Academy. He talks about that in A New Hope. He's going to apply for the Academy. If they have an academy where they train these guys, why does every single one of them can't hit anything? And that's the running joke. But it's like, when they got to kill a bunch of alien tribe people, they hit them dead on. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't like that either. But at the same time, it's like, whatever. So then the female members of this group, which I know that a lot of people are going to be upset about the fact that they were all female, but it makes sense in my opinion.
Why? Here's the thing, like, me, like, when it comes to representation, like, there's I think that it's a weird line we walk, but the fact that they were all female is okay, because, like I've always said, the storyline's good, the action is good, and you don't have to, like, it's one of those scenes where you're not worried about it being female or not, like, if that makes sense. Like,
right,
they're just
well, people like Anita Sarkeesian will probably freak out.
She probably will have something stupid to say. that makes no sense to an argument. But, you know, as someone who, you know, is not female, I was watching it going, this is a good action sequence. Like, I wasn't even thinking about the all female thing until I watched it a second time. So I don't think it's that big a deal whether it's all female or not.
Yeah. Okay, so then the females are going through the ship and they're just firing away. One thing that I also loved was when they were on that bridge and the two Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorian, how they flew off and they went underneath the bridge, and then Cara Dune and Finnick were firing, and then they just came up on the sides of the stormtroopers. I thought that was very cool. I liked it a lot.
It was a good
More
action.
jetpacks.
Yep, more jetpacks.
So then Mando goes to the cell, and while he goes to the cell, the Dark Troopers are still charging. The females are still going through the ship and taking out stormtroopers left and right. So then Mando gets to the... Well, one thing I also liked it when Cara Dune's gun jammed when she was going through the ship, and then she had to like bang it on the floor and stuff to get it to work. I thought that was super fun. Just kind of a fun, kind of comedic kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't like it when she just was like, oh, I'm going to turn it into a mace and start beating guys with it. Like,
oh, I liked it.
Once again, just showing like if a main character is being shot at, they can't hit anything.
That's a good point too. So then Mando, he did. Sorry, I said he got to the cell, but first he gets to the Dark Troopers where they are, and a Dark Trooper breaks out of the little hangar that they're in, and he's fighting with him, and he can't break his Beskar. The robot can't bust through his Beskar. And so he stabs it through the neck or whatever, and he kills it. And then he shoots the rest of them out into space. So then the other female Mandalorians, they're still plowing through stormtroopers, and they get to the bridge. And then finally Mando makes it to the prison cell where Baby Yoda is being kept.
Yep.
When he goes in, Moff Gideon has the Darksaber, holding Baby Yoda hostage. And one thing that I did like was when, because Moff Gideon, he monologued for quite some time in this scene. And, but when he was like, assume that I know everything. I liked that. Yeah. But then he didn't know anything about the Beskar because he tried to slice through him. And then I also liked it how he was all like, I'm going to let you have Baby Yoda and everything deal. And the thing I liked about that was he was taking advantage of the Mandalorian sense of like when we make, and the fact that he was, some of them are bounty hunters, is like when a Mandalorian makes a deal, that's the deal, and he's a bounty hunter. So he's like, all right, once this deal is made, we're good to go and everything. And that's why he didn't, that's why I think Moff Gideon was able to get a hit on the back of him, because he was all like, he trusts me. He trusts that I'm going to do the right thing. So then those two fight. And how did you feel about this fight sequence?
I actually kind of liked it. I like that, Mando didn't really have a whole lot of weapons that he could, use other than, because even when he shot his grappling hook, he cuts the wire to it. But he had that spear. And I even liked when, the spear, it won't cut through Beskar, but as he's holding the Darksaber up against the spear, it starts to light up because it's getting warm. So I kind of I like those little extras. Was the choreography of the fight scene the best? No, not really, but it's still, I think it was good.
See, I thought it was underwhelming in the sense that it was just not, it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. But, I just, it's like, whatever. So then we move over to the bridge where Bo-Katan is sitting there, and he brings in Moff Gideon and the Darksaber, and she looks at him and she's like, what did you do, kind of thing. And the Moff Gideon's like, you defeated me, now she has to defeat you, which I loved how she was like she was like looking at the Darksaber and Mando like, I have to fight him now. And it's all about the story because, and I saw this online, some fans had pointed out that she's been handed the Darksaber before. And maybe that's how she lost it / lost Mandalore, because people are like, you didn't defeat the person that had the Darksaber last time, so now we can't follow you because you're weak, kind of thing. So that's why she's like, I need to defeat him.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, because I was going to bring up that I haven't seen it since it ended, but I could have swore Sabine just handed over the dark saber to her in Rebel. So it's kind of like she can't be handed the saber. Then that doesn't make sense. But it had been since the show ended that I had seen that scene. So
Right on. So then the Dark Troopers, they come back onto the ship, and it took them quite a while to like regain and like come back to the ship and everything. So they come into the ship and they get to the doors of the bridge, and they're getting ready to fight. And the Dark Troopers start punching the door and everything, and they're doing pretty good. I'm all like, Jesus, what are they made of? Beskar 2? And then an X-Wing shows up. Now, I don't know how you felt, but as soon as the X-Wing showed up, I was like, is this Luke? Or are they just trying to like, subvert expectations by being like, it's an X-Wing, but it's not Luke. It's really, shabba whatever, some rando Jedi. So then we get a Jedi coming through the halls of this Star Destroyer, and he's got a green lightsaber. And I was like, oh my God, is that Luke? But I was like, oh, is and everything. And he's fighting. Now, how did you feel about the Jedi going through this ship and destroying all these Dark Troopers?
I loved it. You know what it reminded me a lot of? The scene from Rogue One when Vader shows up and there's like the platoon of guys on that ship, and he just starts cutting through them to get to the plans. That's kind of what it reminded me of a lot of. So it was really good. I really enjoyed watching it. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Right on. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I thought the same thing. So then the Jedi enters the bridge, and he reveals himself to be Luke Skywalker. And I was like, woo, because I wanted to be Luke Skywalker so bad. Now, they did do CGI on Mark Hamill to make him, to de-ageify him. And I thought the CGI was pretty good. I actually liked it. I mean, it's going to be costly, so I think that they should recast. And like we've discussed before in previous episodes, that they should just cast Sebastian Stan because he looks just like Mark Hamill back then. And, it'd probably be cheaper for them to just recast than to do CGI young Luke all the time.
See, I thought CGI Luke was good when he wasn't talking. It looked okay. But when he started talking, I was like, this is weird. This is just freaking me out. Like, and not in a good way, like nostalgic way. Like a Rubber Mask Man was talking. Like, it was just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just have weird eyes, but like I felt like his head would move like this or something, and his mouth would like stay in place, and like I don't know. I can't even really describe it. It was just, it was weird for me.
So then he's all like, Mando is all like, he doesn't want to go with you. And he's like, no, he wants your permission. So then he picks up Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda like goes to grab his helmet or whatnot, or puts his hand up to him, and he takes off his helmet again. And then he was like, I will see you again, I promise. And I was just like so touched. Like I was like, oh my gosh, he has to give up his son and everything. And then when he was like hugging his leg, I was just like, shut your mouth. I can't handle this shit. I can't. So,
yeah, it was definitely a cute scene.
It was so touching. I was just like, oh my gosh, and everything. So then Baby Yoda and Luke, they go and they get onto an elevator.
Real quick, I will say this though. I do like that he took his helmet off in this scene, because I've been saying this from the get-go. At least for me, I don't know how a lot of other people feel. When you can't see an actor's face and facial expressions, it kind of kills it a little bit for me, like how they're feeling or what emotions are trying to come through. But when he's taking them off and you just see this grief-stricken Pedro Pascal, and he's got his eyes are a little glossed over and stuff, then you kind of get the sense that Mando really cared for the child, and it wasn't all for just some form of sympathy or whatever. He actually had some feelings.
Yeah. So then he gets on the elevator, the door closed on the elevator, and that's the end of that episode. Now, then we get a post-credit scene where they go on to Tatooine, and we're at Jabba's palace, and Finnick comes in and murders, and Bib Fortuna is sitting on his throne, with Jabba's throne.
Yep.
And he's fat and everything. And then Finnick comes in, she kills everybody, and then she frees the Twi'lek slave girl, which I have to say, the Twi'leks in this show look crappy, in my opinion. I don't know why they make their Liku like super freaking huge on the top of their head, because like in the past Star Wars, the Liku were smaller and they just kind of draped over. Now they just kind of like sit up, and it's so weird looking. I wish they would go back to the old way of doing it.
Well, it doesn't look organic like it's supposed to be there. Like that Twi'lek, I thought it looked more of like just a hat and not actually like something growing out of her head. Like
right.
it looked like a hat.
Yeah. So then he kills Bib Fortuna and sits on the throne. And then Finnick sits, she takes a swig of that blue stuff, that blue alcohol. And then it says the Book of Boba Fett coming December 2021.
Hey, can I just say Bib Fortuna's fingernails were grossly long. Like the whole time he was talking about Fett, I was like, oh, I hate long fingernails like that. Gross.
Yeah, Bib Fortuna's gross all around. But yeah, so how do you feel about them doing the Book of Boba Fett?
I'm okay with it. Listen, I'm okay with any show they want to do, as long as you know me. If the acting is good and the story writing is good, you can sell it with a turd as the main character. Like it just because people, like we don't need these. I mean, at least for myself, I don't know how everybody feels, obviously, but if CGI and all that stuff, you can take a back seat to that if the acting and the writing is really good. Like you will find a way to suspend disbelief. But if neither one of those things kind of mesh up well, then it kind of just you have to rely on certain other aspects. And I think that when you for CGI, if you do a Jupiter ascending motif where the CGI is just super stellar, but the writing's not that good,
right?
Then, or the story's not good at all, you rely on that and it just still falls apart. You're not going to get what you want.
I agree. So overall, what did you think about this as an episode and as a season finale?
So I give it as an episode, I give it a 9.5. I mean, there's always improvements to be made, but it was really good. By far the best episode of the season. And as a season finale, I give it a 10. They really they ended some up. Yeah, they ended storylines like the Baby Yoda. As far as we know, Baby Yoda isn't coming back for season 3 or whatever. He could be gone for a long time. And then they started new dramas for what you can expect. Bo-Katan has to get the Darksaber from Mando. Is he going to be willing to just give it up, always, or is he going to is he always going to be willing to give up the Darksaber, or is it going to be something where later on he wants to fight for it?
Sorry, I had a tickle in my throat.
You're okay.
Yeah, I loved this season. I mean, this episode. I love this season finale. I thought it was great. It was like I said, they just kept stepping it up and just building and building. And then when Luke showed up, I freaked out. I was like, yeah, I should have recorded my reaction because it was just so great. This was such a great episode, a great season finale. I cannot wait to see what they do next. Go ahead.
I can't wait either. I'm really excited to see. It's too bad we're gonna have to wait some time to
6 months or whatever.
Yeah,
a whole year because it won't come out until December.
Well, season 3 won't come out to December, or
yeah. Even
So
if
I mean,
Boba Fett is its own show, usually around December is when Mandalorian comes out.
well, hopefully they give us enough of these shows because I mean, they got Disney announced a lot of Star Wars,
Yeah, they did.
which I think that one thing that kind of the saturation of Star Wars in the past, where you had all these movies coming out year after year after year, and then they ended up canceling a bunch of them. Um, I hope that all these shows don't do the same thing. I don't think they will because the shows uh the shows themselves, will release and you can watch them at your leisure, but hopefully everything goes well.
Right on. All right. Do you have any last thoughts that you want to say about this? And
Nope, no,
all
I
right.
said it all.
Right on. Yes. All right, guys. Well, tell us, what did you guys think about this episode and as the season finale? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Where did it fall in your ranking of episodes for this season? Were you surprised about the Luke cameo and everything? Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. Marlon, you won't mind either?
I won't mind.
Right? If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys on the next Star Wars video. You guys have a good day. May the Force be with you. Bye.